Hey guys, welcome to Sportitude Running. My name is Josh and today we're going to be doing a shoe review and we're going to be talking all things Asics Novablast 3. Now, an extremely exciting shoe. This shoe has had a fair bit of change from V2 and where it has come from with V1 a couple of years ago now. Asics have really taken some serious learnings from both of those shoes and rolled it into this fantastic package which we have in front of us through here. Now, in today's review, we're going to touch on all the important factors. We're going to look at the midsole, talk about the upper, address the outsole, give you all the information that you need at home to, who knows, maybe make this your next shoe purchase. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay, now before we jump into all the tech pieces of today's review, let's just talk about who the Novablast is targeted. So, being a lightweight cushion shoe, it sort of plays in a couple of different silos. So we've had people purchase this for some daily training because it's got a fair bit of cushioning underneath the foot, and we'll touch on that in the midsole part of this review. But also being quite light as well, it's versatile. So it can be that second shoe in someone's rotation where they're looking for a slightly quicker, snappy feel, but also searching for some protection as well. So it plays in both spaces, mileage, and can also be used for your lighter progressive runs. You could even session in this shoe as well. And I even know there's a few people out there that are actually using it for their race day shoe. And that is probably the person who doesn't really like the fit, feel, and function of a carbon plate or a plated shoe. They want something light, snappy, but wanting a little bit more protection, and Nova talks straight to that market. Okay, and the other thing too to keep in note is it is a neutral shoe. Nothing has changed with regards to V1 to V2. And what I'm talking about there is there's no additional engineering on that medial side that's going to offer any additional arch support. So it's targeting a neutral foot type. If you're a mild overpronator or you happen to be a supinator, it's still going to be A-OK as long as you get fitted correctly and this shoe performs quite well in your testing. Okay, let's jump into the fun part of the review, and I'm going to jump straight to the upper because, again, when a shoe executes a brand executes a great upper, it makes a huge difference with the overall performance and the function of this shoe. So let's talk about the rear of this shoe first. As I hold it in my hand through here, I can tell you right now at home it has an internal heel counter. It's kind of deceptive because it looks like the shoe itself is quite shallow. However, your foot does sit within this midsole, so the midsole does wrap up around the walls of the heel counter ever so slightly, so you do sit nice and deep inside this shoe. Internal heel counter gives you that lockdown you require at the back of your heel. The memory foam around this collar through here is absolutely prime. It's plush, it's fantastic. I still think this is the best heel counter / internal collar that Asics have done. Period, in my opinion. They've really nailed how this shoe fits and feels around the back of your heel and Achilles. As you're coming through to the tongue region of this shoe, if we can rewind the clock and go back to Nova 1, it had a really, really long tongue. Nova 2 was a little bit thinner than Nova 1, that was. However, what they've done at Asics is they've really addressed the weight reduction, and a lot of it's come out of the upper. An extremely lightweight tongue in Nova 3. Gusseted construction, so that means the tongue is attached to the midsole on the medial and the lateral side, but being thin, it's incredibly breathable and it's hardly there on top of your foot, so you get a really good conformed and minimalistic feel on top of your arch, which is fantastic. And other than that, the other really notable point is the fact that this is now jacquard mesh in comparison to what it was last year, which was engineered mesh. All that means is that they've addressed a little bit more attention to detail, making it a slightly stronger configuration with the weave that they have used in executing the performance of this upper. Very breathable, very stable, strong, and conform fit. Love what Asics have done with Novablast 3. Okay, let's jump straight down to the bottom. Not a lot to talk about here with regards to the outsole because it's a relatively minimalistic approach on what a brand or Asics have done with protecting the midsole, being the asset. AHAR plus rubber on play through here. Now that's Asics nice, durable, compounded rubber. It's going to wear very well in those high friction areas. If you address that heel striking zone of this shoe, there's a semi sort of vertical decoupled line through the central part of the heel through here. That's going to more play in the performance of the midsole. But however, this outsole configuration wraps around the whole border of this shoe, both medial and lateral side. And last year with Nova 2, they didn't actually have this little pod on offer through the forefoot through here. If we recall Nova 1, they did. So, however, what I personally like about this this shoe. Again, that decoupled sort of line does fork out around that forefoot. Again, that's more to do with the performance of the midsole. However, by adding this little piece through here, it does help distribute that friction through that forefoot, which is really, really important. If Asics didn't have that there, that midsole would shear away pretty quickly. And that was a little bit of the feedback with V2, although how they set up that forefoot, they didn't have this pod through here, but it did bottom out a little bit too quickly through that front half, which I think most brands do a great job, and Asics have obviously listened to some feedback from V2 and executed a really good outsole with V3. Okay, let's jump to the midsole with Novablast 3. So, like I said in my intro, this shoe is very, very versatile. And that really talks straight to what this midsole technology does. Flight Foam Blast Plus, light, cushioned, snappy midsole. It's the best way to sum that up in 10 seconds. So this shoe is going to be great for someone who just wants to use it for easy day runs, get out the door, switch off, and just roll your legs over. It's going to perform really, really well because it has ample cushioning underneath your foot. However, if you want to get the full experience of this shoe and you want to turn the pace up and push it to maybe your threshold pace or even use it for a couple of sessions, you're going to get a really good outcome. The shoe itself does provide plenty of cushioning, but also with this rocker through the forefoot, it has a really snappy ride and exit out of your gait cycle. And a lot of that is to do, as I touched on, with the technology that is the foam being Flight Foam Blast Plus. However, Asics have addressed some really cool engineering features, looking at putting in these little compression lines on the lateral as well as the medial side. That does actually help the shoe perform on that first entry, being the amount of compression you're going to get and require from making contact with the ground. Restabilizing through mid-start so you don't sort of lose your support and hold as you transition through the mid part of your gait cycle. And then when you're rolling out, being releasing out of your gait, this shoe here has a really smooth rocker feel on the forefoot as well. So I love what this midsole represents. I love what it's about. It's cushioned, it's light, it's snappy, and it's nice and responsive as well. Let's jump to the key stats now. Talking all things stack height. 31 mil in the heel, 23 mil forefoot for that variance of 8 millimeters heel to toe drop. That's in the men's. In the ladies, we just dropped it by 1 millimeter. So we've got 30 in the heel and 22 in the forefoot there. And while we're talking stats, let's talk weight, because that's why this shoe is so different and that's why this shoe is so popular. In the men's, for roughly a size 9, we got them clicked over at 253 grams, and the ladies, size 7, 220 grams. Not the lightest shoe in the market, but it's certainly not coming to the same conversation with your traditional weighted mileage shoes. It really does hit a sweet spot. 253 grams, men's size 9, 220, ladies size 7. It's an extremely versatile shoe. Being a versatile shoe, other shoes that come into the same conversation are your Hoka Mark 5s. Very light, very versatile, can be used for mileage and also some lighter, quicker runs. However, if I had to compare the two side by side, Nova is certainly more cushioned. And the other one would be the Endorphin Speed 3. Now that shoe has got huge street cred with regards to its performance. However, it does have that nylon plate. So very different performing midsole. However, again, being light, cushioned, can be used for some mileage as well as obviously what it's designed for, being a quicker everyday shoe. But in my opinion, I really do think Novablast 3 is extremely cushioned, very light, and kind of almost sits on its own in regards to where it plays downstairs on our shoe wall, that is. Okay, guys, that's my take on the Novablast 3. Now, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I'll say it again. Very versatile, light, cushioned. It plays to a lot of needs out there, and super excited to see what this shoe produces for all of you, the running community all over the world. If you've got any questions on Novablast 3, or you've had experience running in 1 or 2, let us know how that shoe went for you down in the comment section below. We love to hear from all of you all around the world with regards to your running shoe selection. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, hit the red button, stay notified, and we'll keep pumping out these shoe reviews for you all over the world. And a little one here, jump onto Instagram, follow us at Sportitude.running. We produce a fair bit of content every single week, and it's also a great way to keep in touch with us while you're out running and smashing out your training and chasing those PBs. And until next time, stay safe, be kind to one another, happy running, and we'll see you out the road. Take care.